So Deputy President William Ruto has not told the country whether he'll support the referendum or not, insisting that he wants a referendum when it comes to matters changing the constitution held together with the general election, saying that there is still time to build consensus so as to avoid going through the yes or no vote. That is a developing story here on KTN News Center and of course here in the country. My name is Brenda Zedda. I'm here to bring you up to date with what is making the headlines here in the country and beyond our borders. But also focus this morning will be on that impeachment motion when it comes to embattled Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. So members of the County Assembly have said that today they will formally impeach the county governor. Will that happen? It is a discussion we shall be having with the minority chief whip of the Nairobi County Assembly. That is Peter Imwatoku, who's also Makongeni, member of the County Assembly. And all that here on KTN News Center and much more. But first, let's begin KTN News Center with matters the BBI in the country, where Deputy President William Ruto is igniting a new chapter in the Building Bridges Initiative conversation. Ruto now wants the ongoing signature collection for referendum drive stopped to allow room for consensus building in what he says will avoid dividing the country into yes and no camps. At the same time, the DP and his allies say they will only participate in a referendum held alongside 2022 general election. Our senior political reporter, Duncan Haimba, with that report.
Deputy President William Ruto's Karen residence played host to members of parliament and governors allied to Tanga Tanga team as they held a consultative meeting on the BBI referendum push. When they emerged, their resolution was a big no to the current Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020. Their reason being,
we have, as a team here, agreed that we will support the proposal by CIOC in Parliament to provide a mechanism in the referendum where Kenyans can vote on issues, not just a yes-no referendum.
The country's second-in-command insists there is room for a united approach that will ensure a non-contested plebiscite, putting him in direct odds with his boss, President Uhuru Kenyatta.
We have taken the position that there is room for us to improve this document further. And we have stated categorically and respectfully that it is never too late to do the right thing.
The team also wants the planned 2021 referendum shelved altogether.
Given the foregoing, it is legitimate to question the wisdom of spending 14 billion shillings a year before an election that will cost us another 42 billion going by the 2017 figures of the IEBC, when a referendum could be conducted as the 7th ballot in a general election at a virtually no cost.
So, where does the Deputy President stand in the event his quest for consensus fails? Will he support or go against referendum push?
You know me, normally I take positions and I'm very clear about. But you see, I am Deputy President today, and I have the interests of every Kenyan. There are people who support us, and they want a real choice to express themselves.
Suspense and anxiety remains as the DP remains non-committal on where he stands. Finally, Deputy President William Ruto breaks his silence as the signature collection gains momentum, of course stating his position categorically that with his supporters, they are rooting for the proposal by Ndaragwa Member of Parliament Jeremiah Kioni's bill that calls for a multiple referendum question, which basically says they are opposed to the current Constitution Amendment Bill 2020 as it is. How far will they go with their quest? Duncan Haimba, KTN News, Karen.
So Deputy President William Ruto has been known to take a decisive stand in matters referenda. He stood for no in 2005 and 2010 against a new constitution. However, in 2010, he has adopted a fence-sitter approach, juggling with elements of rejecting the BBI report proposals and at the same time not directly opposing it. Our reporter Mark Namaso spoke to some political analysts to argue that the DP understands a lot is at stake in both political and financial fortunes if he goes against the government stand.
Deputy President William Ruto is arguably one of Kenya's politicians known for not wavering on a political path, but not when it comes to the BBI.
You know me, normally I take positions and I'm very clear about.
In 2005, William Ruto was an opposition MP, while Raila Odinga, who had fallen out with President Mwai Kibaki's government, led the LDP faction, equivalent to the Tanga faction in today's Kenyan government.
No.
Ruto stood with the No camp opposing a new constitution. The No team won. In 2010, Ruto was again against the new constitution. This time round, the No team lost.
Wale tunatofautiana ni kwamba wao wanasema tupitishe katiba kwanza alafu tufanye ukarabati ya kurekebisha baadaye. Sisi tunasema kurekebisha katiba baadaye itakuwa ngumu.
Amidst Ruto's current seeming inconsistency is one constant. He seems to be in no hurry for constitutional change, especially with details and clauses involved.
Shida ni kwamba wale watu wa Yesu wako na haraka. Wanasema ndege imeshatoka kwenye runway. Wanasema tumeongojea miaka 20. Wanasema Wakenya hawajali katiba aina wanayotaka. Bora ni katiba ambayo inaitwa mpya watapitisha.
But political analysts say that in 2020, Ruto understands that taking a decisive stand, especially against government machinery, can result in career-ending political and financial consequences.
To go on the no and loses, which is what the proponents of BBI are inviting him to do, then it has political ramifications which then he needs to be able to carry forward with and then know how to deal with that. He may not have that infrastructure.
Kenyans, on the other hand, seem to have more pressing issues to worry about, whether leaders flip-flop on BBI or not.
Lazima tuangazie shida ambazo zinakumba wananchi.
Tutaelimisha watoto ya nini? Na mnataka mpaki kwa hizo piketi?
Watu wasikizane, waongea kimoja. Hakuna mambo ya kusindana na mtu.
Meanwhile, the BBI reggae goes on with signature collection. Mark Namaswa, KTN News.
So shift our focus to matters politics at the Nairobi County, where the Nairobi County Assembly members are today set to vote on an impeachment motion to oust the Nairobi Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko. This is despite the Employment and Labour Relations Court ordering the County Assembly not to proceed with the motion. And as Nicholas Wambua now reports, Sonko is accused by a section of the County Assembly members of taking some members for an holiday in an attempt to sabotage the process.
Yet another showdown looms at City Hall. The Nairobi County Assembly members will be casting their votes in an attempt to impeach the governor Mike Sonko. Just a day before that crucial vote, the governor and a section of MCAs are in Mombasa for an alleged holiday.
And we also ask the security to swing in and bring our members back. As now we are dealing with two ladies in the house, in the office, who are asking where their husbands are, members of the County Assembly.
But the governor, through his spokesperson Ben Mulwa, despite not denying his visit to Mombasa, argues that he has every right to meet his fellow leaders from the County Assembly.
And if it happens that there would be an interaction between the governor and the MCAs, there will be nothing wrong with that, because for purposes of either this motion to succeed tomorrow or to be defeated, the governor needs the support of MCAs.
These developments, despite the Employment and Labour Relations Court, through Justice Nzioki Makau, pronounced itself on the matter on Monday, directing the County Assembly not to proceed with the impeachment motion. Sonko now accuses the Assembly members of defying the same constitution they're accusing the governor of not upholding.
If indeed these people believe they have valid grounds to pursue the impeachment of the governor, and if indeed they believe that they have a right to articulate those issues for the people of Nairobi, then it must also be done within the confines of the law. They cannot be breaking the law at the same time accusing the governor of breaking the law. That is the height of impunity and hypocrisy.
If the Nairobi County Assembly convenes the impeachment meeting on Thursday as planned, they will need a quorum of 82 members, which is the 2/3 constitutional requirements for governor's removal. The question now remains, by the time the motion is tabled on the floor on Thursday, will the County Assembly have whipped the required members to meet the constitutional threshold? Nicholas Wambua, KTN News in Nairobi.
So just a slight correction right there. The picture used in that story of Justice Nzioki Makau is actually the picture of Laikipia Governor Nderitu Muriithi. We do apologize to the governor for that mix-up. Once again, the picture that has been used in that story is of Justice Nzioki Kamau is actually the picture of Laikipia Governor Nderitu Muriithi. We do apologize to the governor for that mix-up. But then, just still on that story, when it comes to impeaching the embattled Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko, I'd like to bring in my colleague Nicholas Wambua joining us from our City Center studios. Wambua, good morning. You've been keenly following up on this story. So the MCAs have decided to go ahead and impeach the governor despite a court order barring them to impeach him pending, the hearing and determination of the case that the governor took at the Labor Relations Court.
Good morning to you, Brenda Zeda, and we are expecting the County Assembly today in the afternoon to convene the sitting as they have insisted, despite the fact that the court barred them from sitting in this impeachment sitting, whereby they are planning to oust the governor today. They have vowed to continue and to move on with the motion. But some allegations came yesterday that the governor took some members of the County Assembly to Mombasa for a vacation. Some people saying that it was a move that was aimed at defeating the motion today by ensuring that there's no quorum in the meeting today in the County Assembly. But, Brenda, what is important is that the court ruled on Monday against this impeachment motion, and now the MCAs are going forward to conduct the same. And yesterday, as we were speaking to the governors, or with the governor's spokesperson, Mr. Ben Mulwa, he said the governors, the County Assembly members who are moving or who are pushing to have the governor ousted are acting with impunity because the court ruled against this particular step. The same thing that they're saying that the governor, among the allegations, are that the governor has acted against the Constitution and against the law. So now the members of County Assembly moving to impeach the governor today through this motion, and bearing in mind that the court ruled against it, the governor's spokesperson, Ben Mulwa, is saying that it is the highest act of impunity because, again, now they are going against the law by defying the court orders that were issued by Justice Makau Nzioki of the Employment and Labor Relations Court. So we are waiting to see what will happen because, as some people are saying, they may end up with not enough quorum to defeat or to impeach the governor because, according to the law, they need a 2/3 majority of members of the County Assembly. In this case, with the Nairobi having 122 members of County Assembly, they need at least 82 members to be able to pass this motion. But the allegations are that the number of members of County Assembly in Mombasa currently stands at 38. That means that they have less than the number that is required to be able to push this motion. So we'll see whether the County Assembly members who are pushing for the motion today, if they are going to postpone it or what will happen, because if they proceed as it is right now, they have no quorum at all to be able to impeach the governor. So we are waiting in the afternoon to see what happens. Brenda, remember, one of the reasons as to why they are saying that they wanted to impeach the governor is acting against the law. And this, they are saying that it is in regards to the County Appropriation Bill 2020, which was 37.5 billion Kenya shillings that the governor rejected to approve, saying that there were mistakes it did not follow the due process that is in coming up with a budget. And in this budget, 27.3 billion Kenya shillings was supposed to head to the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, which is headed by Major General Mohamed Badi. And it is said that this is one of the reasons as to why now the members of County Assembly are pushing to impeach the governor. Remember, the governor rejected this bill, saying that the 27.3 billion that was supposed to head to NMS, the NMS was unconstitutional and therefore it did not qualify to get these amounts of money. So it is said that now this problem began when Sonko rejected this particular budget. So we are waiting to see what will happen, Brenda, in the afternoon. To you.
Right. Wamba, you know, you bring in a very important subject, a very important topic into this discussion about, you know, the number of members of MCs who are required to be in the House so as to see that the impeachment motion is successful. But let's talk about also the signature collection. So at least 86, you know, MCs are said to have appended their signature when it comes to that impeachment motion. The now 82 MCs come out to say that they did not append their signatures. So it begs the question of the authenticity of the signatures that were collected by the people behind the impeachment motion.
Yes, Brenda, this was in the case that was presented in the Employment and Labor Relations Court by Sonko's lawyer, Mr. Harrison Kinyanjui, and a number of members of County Assembly amounting to 62. They said that the number of signatures that were forwarded to the Speaker, a number amounting to 86 of them being the 62 of them, they did not participate in this signature collection to impeach the governor. And that now raised the questions about the authenticity of the signatures that are forwarded to the Speaker to be able to approve this particular motion. So that happened on Tuesday, yes, when the governor was meeting some of the members of the County Assembly at Riverside Drive, whereby they were tear-gassed by police officers. And it is also alleged that the same members of County Assembly that were there, it is still the same number that is in Mombasa. Right. So we are waiting to see also in this motion, if they proceed, what happens, because now the court has already stopped the process.
All right, and Wambua, in a minute, as we wind up, just in a minute, kindly respond to this. So how successful will this impeachment motion be? Because this is the second time the County Assembly, members of the County Assembly are trying to impeach, you know, moving a motion to impeach the governor. The court stopped the first process. Again, the court is stopping this second process. So how successful will the MCA's be, you know, the MCA's motion be successful this time?
Yes, Brenda, it was tried in January, early this year, February, by Peter Imotok, the Makongeni member of County Assembly, who is also the minority whip in the County Assembly. We launched the same motion to impeach the governor, but then the court again halted it on March this year. And one of the arguments that Harrison Kinyanjui was having in court was this case from March has not yet been completed by the court. It has not been decided. Therefore, they cannot again launch another motion to impeach the governor while the first one has not been completed. So it is not the first attempt to impeach the governor. It is the second. And we are waiting to see what will happen, because the first case by Peter Imotok to impeach the governor, that was halted by the court, or halted by the court, that is in March, early this year, did not go through. And now the court having decided that it is unconstitutional for the County Assembly to sit and to again decide on this particular motion today, we're waiting to see what will happen. If they will proceed, then we're expecting, of course, the governor to move to court. But then again, as I said, the question of the quorum will again play a very big part in this motion.
Right, thank you so much. Nicholas Wambua, I know, will give us more updates because it is a developing story here in Nairobi County. And away from that, in the Doctors Union, that is KMPDU, maintains they'll stage a nationwide strike in 5 days despite several meetings held in the last 3 weeks with the National Assembly, Health Committee and other stakeholders. There is no mutual agreement till date. The Health Committee has relayed their disappointment at the Ministry of Health failed to show up in Wednesday's meeting to find a way forward on the stalemate. Our Sense and Health reporter Sada Hassan tells us more.
It was a 2-hour meeting of deliberations on whether to postpone the session after different stakeholders failed to show up. The Ministry of Health, Ministry of Education, Salaries and Remuneration Commission, Council of Governors, National Treasury and Planning, University of Nairobi Vice-Chancellor and the Governor of Laikipia snubbed the meeting.
And I can see that the executive are derailing efforts to stop the strike.
Kirinyaga County opted to send in a representative, the Health CEC Gladys Kimingi, who failed to answer questions presented to the county on grounds that led to the unfair dismissal of 549 health workers.
Because of filling the gap, the county employed 359 staff.
The unpleased committee now wants the Kirinyaga governor to appear in person before the committee. Vice-Chancellor Kenyatta University failed to reach an agreement with the committee and the doctors' union.
It is noted that the same people who are working during the day are the same people who are going to receive, emergency calls.
Since they keep on lying, Chair, we're going to table more documents next time in form of pay slips.
As the looming strike threatens to paralyze the health sector, COVID-19 infections are still rising. In the last 24 hours, 961 new COVID-19 infections have been recorded out of a sample size of 7,780. This brings the total COVID-19 infections to 85,130. New recoveries stand at 854, with 686 from home-based care, while 168 are from different hospitals. Sadly, 10 more people have succumbed to the virus, raising the total number of fatalities to 1,484. Saada Hassan, KTN News.
So now the BBI co-principal ODM leader Raila Odinga was in the meantime on a signature drive in Murang'a. He criticized those against the Building Bridges initiative, saying the mission is doomed to fail. He spoke in Kigumo constituency, Murang'a County, where he was accompanied by the area member of parliament, Wangari Mwaniki. Raila stated that the BBI will increase allocation of resources to the counties while securing equal development for all.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Prime Minister. Tunataka kila mtoto ambaye amezaliwa katika taifa letu, awe baba yake ana mapato au ni maskini, anakuwa na nafasi sawa kupata elimu kuanzia nursery, kuingia primary, kuingia secondary mpaka chuo kikuu sawa. Na kimaliza aweze kupata kazi sawa mtu yote, ili aweze kuinua hali yake ya maisha. Inaitwa kwa kizungu social transformation. Tulete pesa mingi kutoka juu ije hapa mashinani. Ndio baba. Toa kutoka 15 peleke mpaka 35 kwa 100. Ndio baba. Nataka kuleta legacy. Uhuru and Raila want to bequeath the generation coming of Kenya. It's a Kenya that is united, Kenya that is liberated, and a Kenya that is advanced.
Right, that story brings us to the end of the first of KTN News Center. I see you again at 10 a.m. for more stories making the headlines in the country. My name is Brenda Zed Radito. Keep it KTN News.